What is the root cause of type 2 diabetes? Insulin resistance. And what is the root cause of insulin resistance? Well, most people will say carbohydrates, too many carbohydrates. Well, that's the common perception, but not the reality. You shocked? Well, you will be more shocked when you will find out that what I'm going to say next, the evidence to support that has been available in public domain for decades. Hi, I'm Dr. Soham Patel. I'm a board certified endocrinologist and lifestyle medicine physician, and I'm going to explain to you what is true cause of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes from there. Okay, so drum roll please. It is fat, not carbohydrates. Okay, it's the buildup of fat in cells that are not designed to store fat. Our body has a type of tissue called adipose tissue. That particular tissue has been primarily designed to store fat in the body, throughout the body. But no other tissue or organ in the body has the primary function to store fat. Now, when we consume food which are very high in fat, or they're ultra processed with high fats and very high refined sugars, which most standard American diet and foods that you see around are very high fat, at least 30% fat, and a lot of refining in that. It puts your body in a fat storage mode. So you start building up fat molecules inside your liver and muscle cells. Remember, these cells and tissues are not designed to store fat. So normally your body produces insulin, your pancreas produces insulin, which circulates through the blood, and your liver picks up most of that insulin, almost half of that insulin. And the insulin should bind on the top of the receptor on the surface of the cell. Okay? Now the insulin receptor has two long dangling chains of protein that are hanging inside the cell, which have different enzymes connected to it. So when the insulin binds to the surface of the receptor, these enzymes that are connected to the inner part of the receptor get activated as a cascade effect. And that chemical reaction, which is kind of a complicated chemical reaction, leads to these glucose transporter channels which are floating around inside the cell to go plug into the cell wall, across the cell wall. So now you have entry points for glucose to come into the cell. And that glucose is taken up by a system called the mitochondria. Okay, mitochondria is like a powerhouse system of your cell. So it takes the glucose molecule, and again, a complicated process called glucose oxidation and exchange of electrons and energy particles, then leads to generation of these molecules called ATP. Those are the currency of the body, right? Every function, every cellular function, every enzymatic reaction in the body requires energy. And that energy is derived from the energy of these ATP molecules. So that's the energy currency of the body. So one molecule of glucose would generate 39 molecules of ATP in a glucose oxidation cycle. Okay? That's how normally it would function. But imagine the fat is a chewing gum, and the insulin receptor is the key lock, the keyhole, and the key is the insulin. So insulin binds to the surface of the receptor, but the buildup of chewing gum inside in form of the fat is literally clogging up the keyhole. And so the door won't open, right? And the glucose cannot enter into the cells. So it stays high outside the cell in the bloodstream. And that high blood sugar is then called diabetes. But as you just heard me here, the reason why the sugar is running high is because of buildup of cells inside tissues that are not designed to store fat. Buildup of fat inside cells that are not designed to store fat. So sugars running high is just a symptom of insulin resistance, not the true cause. The true cause of insulin resistance is buildup of fat in cells that are not designed to store fat, liver and muscle cells. And I can back this up with actually there's a study where it was done over decades where people were put on very high carbohydrate way of eating where they ate 96% carbohydrates in form of fruits and rice, very little fat, 0.5% fat, and about 2% protein, 2 to 3% protein. And within days, within 10 to 14 days, people with high sugars, high blood pressure, eye changes from diabetes, heart expanding from years of diabetes damage, high blood pressure, started seeing improvements. And on an average, they lost 20 plus kilograms of weight in 6 months and were able to reverse their type 2 diabetes. So again, that's just one study. There are many studies that support the same degree of evidence that it is buildup of fat in the cells that are not designed to store fat. That's the true cause of insulin resistance, which is what leads to type 2 diabetes. So I'm going to explain more about how insulin resistance ties in with fatty liver in my next video. But till then, keep thriving towards health, everyone, and see you in the next video.